So basically, y'all see all this? There used to be trees. There used to be trees. They cut all the trees down. All that used to be trees. You know, and that's another thing that disappoints me. How they just destroy so much nature. You know, and it gets to a point where you just get irritated. You know, so as I was saying, I was asking God, and the only thing that could cure me was nature. I feel much calmer now. I was asking God, I was like, yo, why? The veil is so thin that this is how my life used to be. I used to have my spiritual life, basically means at home, and I would have my work life. And my spiritual life and my work life would never intertwine. My coworkers don't know nothing about my real life. They don't know nothing about my real life. And my work life, most of my real life people, which is nobody, knows about my work life other than myself. So now the spirits in my real life is jumping into the work life. When I tell you, I was so irritated today. And I don't naturally get irritated. And it's a Saturday. So I'm chilling. I go to work, I'm just having this feeling. I don't know if I told y'all, but someone was broke into in a vacant apartment right near my apartment. And was squatting. I called the cops. I said, not on my watch. God told me to wake up at like 4:44 in the morning. He said, go outside just to see them do it. He said, why do I always call you to see things like this in the darkness? He said, because I want you to shine the light on it. I said, God, you waking me up in the morning. I'm irritated. I said, these are the same people you want me to help? God said, help yourself first. I said, got it. You feel me? Because you're not about to have me irritable helping you when y'all ain't trying to change. Like, this world is wicked. Many times, a lot of times, I want this world to burn. All of it. You know, this world is a waste of time. It really is. But I have to keep the faith because God is real. But I'm like, why would you make me feel this way? And he's like, so you can change it. I'm like, this world is pure crap. Like, nothing of this is entertaining at all. It's trash. I said, let me tell you, I said it was a kind of like a chubbier fat girl. She wasn't super fat, but she was on the bigger side. And I said, Miss, I like your headscarf. Now, I don't know when Big turned to like baddie, but apparently. So I'm like, just trying to give compliments, and not because she was big, but because the headscarf it was a real nice animal print. And she literally like blatantly disregarded the fact that I existed. And I was like, see, this is the reason why y'all don't ever get married. And God said, this is the reason why you need to focus on yourself. Like, once you become completely and utterly disregarding their gender, you will boss up so heavy, but at the same time, it's the sacrifice of not interacting with them. And God said, then don't do it. Because they're the only thing really holding you back, and that's what irritates you, is because in the end, he does want his children to come together. So I'm like, how you want us to come together and not together at the same time? He told me, he said, come together after you came together with yourself. He said, fall back. Don't fuck with none of them. Get the bag. Enjoy your life. I said, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to the point where I'm like, what do you want from me? You feel me? Like, I do all the things you say, and it just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And he said, focus on your own dream and it will make sense. So I'm like, oh, you want me to be fully fledged, like selfish, like self-centered, fully fulfilled, like Leo. I said, okay, cool. Because I guess that was the whole purpose from the beginning, to be yourself. And I've always tried to un-Leo myself for so long because it was the only thing to let you know what I'm saying, to let everyone live. It was the only way. I try to be myself and then it's like a problem. It don't make no sense. I could never. That's why today happened. And it took me to reflect with some nature, as you can see. It took me to reflect with some nature. Oh, how you doing? It took me to reflect with some nature to really understand what my day was like. Like, I was so confused the whole time. And I finally start to understand things in such a way where I now know what's going on. Look at this artwork right here. You know what I'm saying? So, look at the sun beaming. He up there somewhere. Yeah, he right there. But yeah, I got to the point where I had to really ask myself, like, who are you doing this for? And like, I think men should just fall back fully on women and then just focus and go straight to the purpose. I know it's gonna make a lot of us feel bad that have empathetic hearts, but I think I think you all need to learn the hard way. I think that's the only way y'all gonna actually really understand what we go through. I mean, it's not just the women things that I have issues with. I got issues with black people in general. Until we take the throne back, we're gonna be in this chaos forever. It's gonna be a perpetual state of purgatory. And we think this shit is a game. Keep dancing all the time. And making Tyler Perry movies is not the vibe. You know, and God says, if you have so much criticism, you do different. I said, all right, bet. You know, because that's the only reason that hindered me from being myself, is because I didn't want to offend people. But the way I naturally think is very offensive. So I'm grateful for today, because today made me finally roar inside. Because I'm like, what the fuck are we doing this for if this is what we got going on? And God was like, when you're by yourself and you speak to me, it'll start to make sense. And you won't have that rage inside. Because I don't, even with white people being racist, I ain't never had this much rage in my heart for a people. And God said, because a lost people are retarded, you have a rage towards the ignorant. And that's it's amplified with melanin. So that's why you're so mad, you know. But once you will start to reflect and calm down and just become one with yourself, you'll start to understand why I make things happen the way they happen. I needed to show you these things on purpose so you could grow, you know, and I understand it. That's the only thing that really calmed me down, is when I talk to God, for real, for real. Only thing that really make me calm down is when I talk to God. Because I done been so stressed out by women and black people all at one time. I don't know what the fuck going on. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something I have to understand myself. But I get it, you know, and it's a one day by day process. You know. How you doing? Anyway, talk soon. Y'all enjoy. Be blessed. Have a nice day.